This is the Colorado Springs shooting suspect, Anderson Lee Aldrich, pictured with his mother, who I'm going to talk about in a moment, and his California Assemblyman grandfather, Randy Vogel, who serves the San Diego area. This is Aldrich and his mother, whom he threatened with a bomb in 2021. He was arrested, police were called, and the question is, why would this man have access to any type of an assault weapon? Well, according to several sources, it was grandfather Randy Vogel, California Assemblyman, who made sure that his grandson had access to the weapons that he wanted by ensuring that his record was sealed. And mind you, this happened in Colorado Springs, the congressional district served by Lauren Boebert. I'm going to talk about her in a moment. But before making the video on Boebert, I want to talk about Omar Martin, the murderer who killed and gunned down people at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida. We knew his name, we knew his background immediately following the killing. Why is it that national media has failed to give us information on Aldrich? I had to dig deep to find out who the killer was, although he was stopped that night by patrons of the nightclub. By gay men, mind you, not the police. I have yet to hear Anderson Lee Aldrich's name mentioned on mainstream media. I have yet to hear it. I have yet to hear anyone denounce this as an act of domestic terrorism committed by this man. My heart breaks for the people of Colorado Springs. My heart breaks for the entire LGBTQIA plus community of which I am a member. And I hope and I pray for justice and retribution and peace and solace that surpasses understanding for the families of all victims.
This is what I woke up to. And I don't want to make this video, but I know I have to because the mainstream media isn't going to do it the justice that it deserves. As always, please remember to save and share this as it helps in this world, and we need to protect our communities. Last night, a 22-year-old domestic terrorist, which is not what the mainstream media is calling him, walked into a queer safe space named Club Q in Colorado and opened fire, unaliving 5 and injuring 18 others. I think it's important to make a note of this, that someone with the same name and age as the suspect was arrested last year for one of these. We should also clear this up. I know the mainstream media and authorities will, take their time to say this, but I'm going to say this right now. This was 1000% a hate crime. Clearing up some other things the media's left out. The nightclub in Orlando's name was Pulse, and we need to say it and remember it so that these things continue to hold weight. Now I want to say this. It is November, which means it's Movember, which is why I'm wearing a mustache, which is meant to mark men's mental and physical health. Because we need to talk about it, because men are doing this. We see this happening at the hands of straight men more than anyone else. Secondly, this is on the hands of every conservative Republican who pushed anti-LGBTQ rhetoric for the last, I don't know how long, because you've dehumanized us and made us into something that is easy to go and do this to. And lastly, I want to say this. For years, we've seen a growing movement of MRAs, incels, red pill, misogynists, whatever else you want to call them, and this is what it results in. These men who do not have community and don't know where to turn to online forums where they are fed and bred to be hateful and into the alt-right pipeline. People like Andrew Tate amplified this and only made it spread faster. We have to come together to make change because no one is okay in this current system. I want to take a moment to reflect on what today's actually, and that's the Transgender Day of Remembrance, which is what today's supposed to be about, not this. Lastly, I want to say thank you, I don't know the right word, to the people who stepped up at Club Q to stop this person from hurting more. We do better together. Welcome to the Love Army.
You've probably already seen this, but it's happened again. Last night, a gunman went into a gay nightclub in Colorado Springs called Club Q, killing 5 people and injuring 18 more. Now, there are a bunch of mugshots floating around, so it's hard to know which ones are real. The police have identified the shooter as 22-year-old Anderson Lee Aldrich, which is significant when you consider back in June of 2021, his own mother called police to tell them that he was threatening to build bombs to blow up a bunch of people and then shoot and kill a bunch of people. That led to a standoff with police. Ultimately, they didn't find any bomb-making materials. However, he was arrested and charged with 2 counts of felony menacing and 3 counts of first-degree kidnapping. And yet, despite that, he was able to freely walk into a nightclub last night armed with firearms and shoot and kill multiple people. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the fact the club is stating he was stopped thanks to the heroic customers that subdued the gunman and ended this hate attack. I hope in the coming days we learn a lot more about those individuals because this could have been a lot worse. While right now we don't know his exact motivations, we can take guesses that are probably pretty educated guesses. And the reality is the right has gone out of their way to vilify and dehumanize members of the LGBTQ plus community. Lauren Boebert has the audacity to post this tweet claiming sympathy for the victims. But that rests atop a stack of tweets like these, where she's gone out of her way to attack and vilify the LGBTQ plus community. Here she is upset that she wasn't the #1 person referring to the LGBTQ plus community in drag shows as groomers. And when you use language like they and your, separating the two, and refer to them as sick, demented groomers, you are dehumanizing them. You are making them monsters. And that is stochastic terrorism, the public demonization of a person or group resulting in the incitement of a violent act. And as Aaron pointed out, Club Q was supposed to have a drag brunch today. Meanwhile, libs of TikTok, just hours after that attack, posted this, encouraging the targeting of a separate drag brunch, also in Colorado, just hours after the attack. The reality is this: if you tell the world that gay people are evil, wicked monsters that want to harm their children, actual monsters will use that as an excuse to do harm, believing it makes them the heroes.
Joshua, what does this mean for the LGBTQ community here in Colorado Springs, this shooting?
It's hard to say. It means so much because this is our only safe space here in the Springs. And so for this to get shot up, like, what are we going to do now? Where are we going to go? Yeah, we can rebuild and come together and this, but what about those people that lost their lives for no reason? Like the other 18 that were injured. I could have been one of them. Like, it means a lot because, again, what are we going to do now? How are we going to feel safe in our city?
This was your safe space?
Yeah, this was the only LGBTQIA plus space in the entire city of Colorado Springs. It's won awards in Independent Magazine. I got my start here. Like, so many of my friends I met here and people that I call loved ones, and now it's shattered.